I admit, when I first heard that, yo, Kendrick done, he did a sit down interview. You know what I'm saying? And he's addressing what his thought and his mind process was to Not Like Us, the biggest hip hop song of the year. I told myself, I was just like, damn, an article, a sit down interview where we gotta read it. I was just like, that ain't new era. I want a video sit down. I want an audio at least. But then I started to think about it and I was just like, this mysterious, exclusive, boogeyman, quiet Kendrick, it just works so much. So we got to sit down interview him and SZA, one of his peers from his label. I think that's dope too. They're saying that he chose SZA to do the interview for him. So of course she's not going to go crazy with nothing over the edge. It's going to be more of a controlled environment. But she asked a question or two that we still wanted to hear. So let's jump into it, y'all.
Kendrick Lamar is now doing interviews as he sat down with Harper's Bazaar magazine. But obviously there has to be a little bit of a wrinkle with everything that Kendrick Lamar does. So this interview, even though it was for this magazine, it was done at the request of Kendrick by SZA. They get into mental health and motivation, and Kendrick says his actions are not motivated by anger, but understands that love and war both deserve to be acknowledged. Not that they represent him, but he acknowledges that they both need to exist in the world. And of course, he will be asked about
immediate lie. Y'all know we here for it, man. Kendrick, I ain't trying to hear none of that shit. I ain't trying to hear none of that shit. That's a lie. Off rip.
About Drake and Not Like Us, and he would give his definition of what it means to him. What's up, y'all? It's your man Talkless World Report for the Chick Smooth channel. We got to talk about this. SZA didn't waste any time. As soon as they sat down, she starts off saying, I want to ask you about your mental health. Do you feel like you suffer from mental illness or experience it ever? Or do you just feel like you're in a multitude of feelings and you're not putting a label on it? Kendrick would say, I grew up with that term. I was hearing it when I was 5 or 6 years old. So you identify with it, but not as it. Then he says, my whole thing is, it's all experience. I say some shit on a record and identify with a moment, and then I don't identify with it anymore. That's just growth for me. All that shit is subjective. Then SZA says, it's giving self-therapy, which Kendrick replies, I think it's going back to my inner child, right? I was trying to understand myself, trying to find people I could relate to, how to identify myself outside myself. It sounds crazy to a lot of people. I really can't see myself out of my body. When I do that, I have no judgment towards it. It's too many eyes on me to not remove myself. That shit is scary to anybody else.
Let me stop there for a second. Because I'm already seeing some of the energy on the internet. It's Kendrick, number one. Then you got Drake fans out there, number two. And then he's giving like these kind of eclectic, more in-depth type of, answers. And it's split out there on the internet just that fast. It's like you got people just like, yo, what the fuck is he talking about? Get out of here with this bullshit. You stunting, you hypocritical, you lying, you trying too hard, you reaching, it ain't that serious. And then you got a whole nother crop of people out here on the internet that's seeing this interview and they're just like, yo, like the man's got some depth to him. Stop hating. You know what I'm saying? Like just because we see him out here in this battle and you know what I'm saying? Like blazing guns at Drake and all that type of shit. The man's not just pure ignorant, you know what I'm saying, dumb thinker. Like the man's got a brain to him. I mean, obviously, look how he tactically moved through this battle. So I like some of these answers so far. I think there are some things in this article that make a couple people like, come on, son, like what are we doing here? But let's be open-minded. Be open-minded here.
SZA focuses on and asks, are you scared? And he would say, no, because I've learned that I can't identify with my performances on stage. I can't hold my true whole identity to that person who's on stage. Because if I did, that means I would judge every movement, every time I mess up a lyric, every time I'm off key. It's too much to deal with. So I have to have a
definitely messed up some words, and actually the song, what was it? Euphoria. He came out, right? And messed it up. Like he was jumping to different parts of the song at the wrong times during the pop out. It's all good. I mean, he was still catching the beat and then bringing it back and everything, but I get it. You got to take that type of mentality and position. Like you're up there live. We're not looking for the lip syncing and overdub saturated type of performances. Think about the verses. Think about the Locks versus Dipset, right? Jada Kiss killed the Diplomats just with that alone, just setting that type of tone over the entire crowd. Like, what are they doing? They rapping over the words. They don't know the words themselves. They cut all the lyrics off to their songs and just played the beat, and then boom. So like when I saw Kendrick, still catch the beat and mess up some of the placement of his track, I was just like, it's all good. Like this is a live performance. This is a huge situation. And I guess you got to be critical, but at some time step outside of your body and not be too overcritical and realize like, yo, I'm still putting on a masterful show up there. Like, okay, I messed up a syllable. I messed up a word. I had to bring something back for a second. I tripped over myself real quick. Like it is what, can y'all do it? Hell no. You know how many rap battles I stand in front of and then I look out into the crowd and I'll be like, shit, couldn't be me. Hell no.
Distance between the performer and the person I close my eyes and look at the ceiling with. I had to develop that tough skin at like 16 or 17 years old, not knowing it was not only for my career, but for myself. It's mentally ill for sure. And then the conversation gets a little more spiritual as before asking about God, SZA asks, have you done ayahuasca? And Kendrick says no, which he then replies to surprise saying, what? I wonder how you're arriving at all these conclusions. I want to talk to you about your spiritual practices. How many spiritual practices contribute to your day-to-day? And he says, all day, every day. She says, all day is ceremony? And Kendrick gets personal saying, ain't no BS, ain't no cliche, but I literally talk to God. Like it's to a point where I'll be starting to think I'm going crazy. But then he has to remind me, no, this is really me. Well, if that's true, and he does talk to God every day, how was Drake ever going to win a rap battle against God? Drake said 20 versus 1, but I guess he missed.
Quick side note, man. Once again, people, like don't overanalyze when somebody speaks in a way of discussing out-of-body experiences, right? It doesn't have to be some spiritual, like your soul comes out and then turns around and watches you. It doesn't have to be that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's being able to just put your mind in a place to watch your movements, to read yourself, to understand what other people may interpret. And there's a lot of things that these artists go through that they still are processing for years. Who was it that went through walked through Jay-Z's house with him? Was it 21 Savage? It was somebody that did an interview and they said they went to Jay-Z's house and they was walking through the house with him, just touring the crib. And they asked Jay, like, yo, like, can you really still process the fact that you a dude from Marcy Projects and look at this shit. Look at this. And Jay's answer after all of this time of being he's a billionaire now, whatever, all these years, he still says, I still wake up and process it. I still am like in shock of it. I still am in awe of it. I could relate, man. There's certain things in my life where every once in a while, when I sit down and I think and I look at it, it's semi out of body type of feeling. And you look at certain things, you're just like, yo, what the? It could be something that you literally live every single day, but you're just still, your mind is in a million places. And when you sit down and you focus on something, it's like, I did that, or I accomplished that, or I really live here. I'm really a billionaire, like, you know what I'm saying? So everybody is like, chill out with all the like, come on, Kendrick. Like, nah, man, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And I hope that everybody finds different areas where they can experience that because it helps them be a little bit more open-minded. It helps you see and reflect on yourself in ways that maybe you haven't so far. So be open-minded to that, people. We ain't gonna try to jump on Kung Fu Kenny for that. Chill out.
A very important person. But Kendrick will continue. My early morning practice is that I have to run. When I started running, that's where I started to understand. There was this threshold of pain in the spirituality for me. I remember my shins was aching and I was like, I got 1 mile to go. Then I get whispers and downloads and start talking about shit that I want to know about. And next thing I'm 3 miles in, 4 miles in. I wake up and do it every day. She says, loss of self, you have to break yourself. And he replied, I have to. And then SZA would try to dig deeper into his internal creative and spiritual practices. As she says, I'm grateful for the God T. Sidebar, what do you feel like your top 3 contributing factors to self-transformation in the last few years have been? And he says, the power of honesty and being honest with myself, perspective about the person sitting across from me, and learning that vulnerability is not a weakness. That last
I like that. I like that answer. The power of honesty and being honest with myself, perspective about the person sitting across from me, and learning the vulnerability is not a weakness. That last one probably been one I'm still developing. The power of honesty. So I think I saw a clip of academics like, "We mean honesty. You got a song trying to say that Drake is a pedo and he had another kid. We mean you're not honest. We talk about like shit." Yo, you fools, listen to music, but you just skim through it. Chill out. First of all, he's talking about development, right? Not nobody's perfect, and nobody's interpreting this answer as Kendrick was trying to say that he's perfect. Like, yo, like Act be bugging as smart as he is. Sometimes he be bugging the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? But the whole being honest to yourself, yo, I promise you, there's a lot of people that will never, ever, ever get to a point in life where they don't lie to themselves. They be stunting, they be fronting, they be acting, they be over or under believing in themselves. They are not honest with themselves one bit. And it becomes a point of failure for so many people that just cannot look in the mirror and be real. So I like that. And to continue to work on that as a person, as a human, as a man, as a woman, that is very, very strong. Very, very, very strong. And vulnerability is dope too. Vulnerability. I think I had a little mini vulnerable moment the other day, and I was telling y'all the type of shit that like makes me emotional and glassing up my eyes and shit like that. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's like when you find a comfort in vulnerability, it makes you that much stronger of a person because you don't walk around with this machismo or this shield of like trying to like to me bleeds into the first one of being honest with yourself. Like, stop acting like it don't hurt when it really does. You see what I'm saying? Now, how do you have to have the ability to show that it actually hurts? By allowing yourself to be vulnerable, right? And it gives you such a strength. Like, I've gotten to such a place of like just accepting who I am and continuing to build and evolve on my own personality, my own character base, where it's just like, all right, like I know I'm not comfortable with that. Like, I'm not gonna try to act tough behind it. I'm just gonna be over here. You see what I'm saying? Like, and then let's say, like, even in you explaining that, like, you would think that everybody always wants to play tough, but I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable by telling you, like, nah, I don't want to do that because it makes me uncomfortable. And it's you can say it and practice it so easy because you're allowing yourself to be more. We grow up like that. We grow up playing tough and showing our tough exterior, not letting them see you sweat. We grow up like that, B. And it takes years and years and years and years and years to chip that shit off layer by layer by layer. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the reasons why you men are a completely different person with your woman than you are with your boys. And I think that to a degree we all should be. All right. Don't screw my words up here. You know what I'm saying? But your lady might get all that cuddly and you totally let your head down and being romantic and soft and all that. And with your boys, like, ah, yo, what's it? You know what I mean? Like, you change up a little bit, right? But it's cool now if you allow your guard to be down even to other men in certain respects. They will pick up on that and they will respect it as well. And if they don't, they're the wrong type of people. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with it, B. I ain't saying walking around being no bitch. All right. Don't fuck my words up, y'all.
This one
Don't mess
probably
my
been
words up.
one I'm still developing. To that, SZA will ask which one was the most difficult, and Kendrick will talk about his childhood and how there is no growth without vulnerability. He says the last one was most difficult. She says why, and he replies, "We talk about our childhood. I hate going back to that. It's traumatizing. My pops, he was tough. He was militant. As far as every day, you are expected to go to work, take care of your family, get back up to do it all over again. Being a man type shit, right? And he never showed no weakness. He never showed any emotion that could garner a one up from the person sitting across from him. And I learned to experience that, not knowing I had them same traits, right? But for what I do, there is certainly no growth without vulnerability. If I understood the power of vulnerability earlier, I could have had more depth and more reach to the guys that was around me in the neighborhood coming up. You know, our parents, they never had these outlets to express themselves the way they wanted to. I've always looked at us as somewhat of a beacon of hope for them. I've always wanted to know, how does your mom feel about your self-expression? He would ask SZA. SZA would give a story about how her mom grew up and how SZA was able to give her mom freedom through her music. And Kendrick said, you did give her freedom. And SZA says, and she gave it to me. But she would turn that right into, when was the last time you cried? When was the first time you cried? And Kendrick would say, I would say the last time I cried was probably on Mr. Morale on the Mother I Sober record. It was deep for me. SZA would ask, would you say you've
That's
done
dope.
more crying recently than you have in your life? He said, now? Yeah, I have to. She said, it's cleansing. And he replied, it might be easier for you though, which SZA replies to, I cry all the time. I'm going to cry right now because that's just beautiful. Wait, you
Yo, chat, when's the last time you boo-hooed, yo? I'm talking about oh. I ain't gonna lie, yo. The last time I boo-hoo was at my Aunt Marilyn's funeral, B. It's because we saw it coming, like, she was on her way for a while. We was all on high alert. And this is somebody I'm super, super, super close to, raised me, was one of the people that raised me. You know what I mean? And I don't know, man. I was just super tough, super on point, super sturdy, super strong. I got to the funeral. I pulled up, man. I saw a bunch of my friends and family and hugs and kisses in all directions, my blood family and whatnot. I'm just like, all right, yo, we here. You know what I'm saying? Let's pay our last, respects. And it was something that got said by in the service, man. And that shit doubled me the fuck over. So like I just had to put my head down, and I forget who was sitting on my side. Everybody was patting my back the whole time. Yeah, I was fucking rolling in there. It just hit me at once. Like, oh shit. Like she's my aunt. She really, really, like, this is somebody I'm very, very close to. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like everything caught up at once, B. And then I was one of the people that they asked to come up and deliver a speech on her behalf. You know what I'm saying? So, and I got up there messed up, man. I had me a nice speech to deliver. I probably got through like 70% of the shit, man. I was done. You know what I'm saying? That's the last time I think I had one of those. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna lie, like when they talking right here, like it's a cleanse. I tell you this, man, I probably walked out of them front doors more with a semi smile, like as far as like feeling relieved that she was being sent off right and the family was feeling good. And like it is a release, y'all. Don't pin that shit up for 8 years, y'all. You better figure out how to let that shit go.
You didn't tell me. What was the first time that you allowed it to happen? Which then Kendrick says, the first time I allowed it to happen is documented, actually on stage. In 2011, when Dre and Snoop and the whole West Coast was out, and they was like, this is the torch that we were handing off. Dre passed me the torch, and a burst of energy just came out, and I had to let it flow. My tears is all on the internet. And now I look back and
Prayers, homie. Prayers, 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 prayers. Prayers, 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 prayers. I'm very, very sensitive to children's stuff, cancer stuff, burning houses, that type. I told y'all that the other day, y'all. Prayers, 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 prayers. We send you all strong energy and prayers and hope that everything works out the best way possible for you, homie. You already know how we rock.
I love that moment. I love that happened because it
Come
showed
on,
me in
man.
real time expressing myself.
You'll
And
mess me
seeing
up
all
up
the
here,
work that I
man.
put
Have me
forth
walk off
actually
camera.
come to life in that moment. And for those of you who don't remember, here is that moment.
Nigga, you got the torch, nigga. You better run with that.
This is what emotionally hit Kendrick right here. Last time he stayed quiet. It's a big moment. Yeah. I forgot this footage.
Then after a couple more questions,
like you
she would
made it.
get right into the real question that we all want to know. Can I ask you a hyper masculine question? You can also tell me to shut the F up. What does not like us mean to you? He would laugh and say, not like us? Not like us is the energy of who I am, the type of man I represent. Now, if you identify with the man that I represent, SZA will cut him off saying, break that man down for me. And Kendrick was saying, this man has morals, he has values, he believes in something, he stands on something, he's not pandering. He's a man who can recognize his mistakes and not be afraid to share the mistakes and can dig deep down into the fear-based ideologies or experiences to be able to express them without feeling like he's less of a man. If I'm thinking of Not Like Us, I'm thinking of me and whoever identifies with that. SZA says, now, can I say something else in that realm? Or you
That's what I think a lot of people feel like, yo, what kind of answer is that? Is that a reach? I don't feel the same. I'm the guy that's been up here since day one saying that I feel like when it comes to Kendrick and Drake, I feel like Kendrick didn't like him way before it started, way before the BET shots and all that, the BET award and all that, like way before his closeout on Like That with his closeout song with Metro Boomin and Future. I feel like he totally has a big dislike, if not a small hatred towards Drake. I think he hates who Drake is as a man. I think he hates what he stands for. I think he sees things in him where he's just like, yo, me and you was night and day. Me and you was black and white. Me and you was nowhere near the same. And it all fits the title, Not Like Us. You know what I'm saying? Now, the whole us in it and everything, and then obviously you see how the video was shot, you pulling on the energy of like not just your local, LA and California and the West Coast, obviously, right? But you pull on any air likes that's like, yo, we on this side of the gate. We not on any of that type of stuff over there that he considers fraud, fake, culture vulture, didn't grow up like that, acting like you a thug and you not, possibly a womanizer, possibly into drugs, this and that. Like all the things that he said in all these diss tracks that he's looking at Drake, and that's how he sees him as a man. He's trying to say that's not us. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that this answer was a dance. People is killing this answer. And I'm not, listen, I ain't here to shine up everything that Kendrick does. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. I'm not at all. And I would have liked a more battle rap centric answer, to be real. I would have liked to hear him just go like, yo, Not Like Us, man. Listen, let me tell you one thing about Drake. Like, I would have loved to hear that. I would have rather hear that. I want to hear that interview from both of them ASAP. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm too into battle rap, man. I'm too into hip hop. I want to know the method behind all the madness, V. I want to hear the method behind all the. I don't care if it's your biggest rap songs or whatever. When Nas and Jay-Z sat down, I was right there, eyes right on the screen, popcorn, like digging through every word. This is part of my history, B. I breathe this shit. I want to know. I really, really want to know. So I didn't get the answer that I really wanted, y'all. But I do understand what the fuck he just said. So it's just like, damn, this is like, maybe it's only certain type of thought capacity. And I'm not trying to belittle people that disagree with his type of answer. I'm not trying to say like, oh, like you don't think high enough. I'm not trying to do that. I think it's a preference thing. And I just don't have no problem with his answer. Like I said, it's not the answer that I was looking for. It's not the answer that a lot of us was looking for. But it makes sense and it applies. It's like, if we're gonna look at all his videos and his lyrics and see all this Easter egg shit and put it together, all these minutes and hours on the internet of all these like putting things together, the puzzle that he lays out there, I'm like, oh, that's what he meant. Oh, that's what he did. Oh, that's what that scene in the video means. If we're gonna do that, then why would we expect for him to give us a straightforward answer? Nothing that he's been doing is straightforward except for Meet the Grams. That's the only thing in this whole battle that Kendrick has ever done that is straight fucking forward. Meet the Grams. Everything else makes you put it together. Why the fuck would I expect anything different from this answer right here? Let's be real.
Want me to get away from that? Can I ask you something else? And hilariously, he asked, is it mean? She says, no, it's more like, I thought it was really interesting that there was any consensus at all that you might be an angry individual. For me, I don't find that any energy that comes from you comes from an angry place. And actually, the last hour and change pretty much solidifies that it's almost from a monk-like place. So when you feel the surge of energy in records like that, where is the root? Is it anger? And he would say, I don't believe I'm an angry person, but I do believe in love and war. And I believe they both need to exist. And my awareness of that allows me to react to things, but not identify with them as who I am. Just allow.
Kendrick, do me a favor, Kendrick. I'm talking to you, Kendrick. Go play Meet the Grams and tell me if you ain't angry. Yeah, boy's a sick man with sick thoughts. I wish niggas like him would die. Oh, rest of their life. Get the fuck out of here. You wrote that from a place of anger, B. You can't convince me no different, B. That dark, deep ass Alchemist produced shit. That shit gave me nightmares, B. That comes from there's only one place Meet the Grams comes from. The deepest, darkest corners of this earth, B. Do y'all remember my reaction? Let's go back months. Do y'all remember my live reaction? It wasn't a situation where I did any homework and I was like, let me at least be prepped for the stream or nothing like that. Them things was moving, like them songs back to back. Once it was up, it was like, oh, what's going on? Remember Academics? He was like reviewing Family Matters while Meet the Grams drop. And his reaction is so classic. It's just like, what do y'all mean in the chat? Kendrick drop. And right there live, he goes and pulls it up. Same thing happened with me. I'm watching my Twitter, ARP Kendrick drop. I'm like, what? I just ended my last stream. What are you talking about? Oh shit, I'm gonna go cut the stream back on. I said, yo, live. I put it on right there in the moment. Didn't hear nothing. I did it live with y'all for the first time. And this shit started, Dear Adonis. I said, wait, what? What? And then by the time we got to like the second verse and I was pausing it and like flipping out, y'all was in the chat telling me like, no, it gets worse. ARP, click play. And I was like, how? How does it get worse? And then it got to the point where he was just like, yo, you got hiding another child. I was like, what? Oh my, what is going on? The pedo stuff. Steph Curry, keep the family away. LeBron, keep the family away. I was like, oh my God. Yo, that was a haunting moment. That comes from the deepest, darkest corner of whatever. That comes from Mordor, for my Lord of the Ring fan. That shit, he wrote that shit from the volcanic ashes of Mordor, B. Can't convince me no different. Hell yeah, you got some angry tendencies to your bitch. Drake damn sure believes that. Fuck out of here.
Allowing them to exist and allowing them to flow through me. That's what I believe. And SZA says, I'm going to quit while I'm ahead before I say something crazy. Do you think SZA did a great job when she's done doing music? Is being an interviewer or having a podcast something that you would want to see in her future? Let me know in the comment section. But her doing well here does not mean she would not have any backlash, as someone would say. So,
well, hold on. I mean, we could just breeze through that real quick. People, like, come on with that question. Shout out to Chigs once again. They're what, label mates, same team. Like, nobody expects SZA to press him in an interview. This is probably why he chose her for this interview. We're not gonna anytime soon. He's not gonna go sit down with Charlamagne the God and get pressed about a bunch of questions that we really, really want the answers to. The man is still on his chessboard. What the hell do we expect? All in all, though, I know that, you know, we start this interview out and we ask ourselves, is this guy just on some weird shit? Where's the video interview? Where's at least audio and all that? It just makes sense, man. It just makes sense. It's like the man is just moving so mythical and mysterious and tactical. Like, it just makes even people just stop what they're doing, even for a damn printed article that comes out. It makes me feel like I'm back in the magazine days. Like, I went and bought the new Vibe, a XXL, or Source Mag or some shit, and I'm here for it. And that's what Kendrick is doing, B. That's what he's doing. Everything he does feels like a moment. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy, B. And just keeping that level of mystique there. It's like when the Watch the Party Die dropped. We clicked, we ran to that, and we were looking like Drake just dropped some new shit. I ain't looking for nothing. Like, I ain't. It's like, because Drake is there. Like, we see him. He's constantly posting pictures with his new hairstyle, his new outfits, and he's moving around. He's popping up at parties, and he's popping up on stage, and he's giving speeches, and he's dropping some. Then he just dropped some like Spanish speaking shit or whatever. I didn't try to even give it a chance. I was just like, I'm still waiting. I'm not hating. I just clicked off. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, Kendrick, every time we see him, it makes people stop what they're doing. And that's his masterful fucking chessboard. It's crazy. But all in all, I'm not, just because it's like that within itself is a mind thing. Psychologically, he's got us all trapped in what's Kendrick gonna say or what's he gonna do next. Let me step outside of that. Speaking of out of body for a second. let me step outside of that and say, this ain't no great interview. Let's keep it 1,000, y'all. This ain't no great interview. If you have the opportunity to sit down with Kendrick Lamar, especially if he's going to answer a couple questions about Not Like Us or the Drake beef, there's follow-up questions, and Sis is not gonna press them, but there's just other things that we would have liked to peer into. We already got the album. We already got the Mr. Morale. If we want to see what his subconscious is and his morals and his principles and all that, we already got the album. You interview him right now. I want to know about this Drake shit. I want to know about the Super Bowl. I want to know about the next album. That's all I want to know about right now. Those three things. If it ain't that, it is what it is. But I ain't tight at the interview. We'll wait until the next time this guy, pops up for air. In the meantime, sorry, it's true.